This is my early 2008 MacBook Pro, and if you guys remember, we built it up in here about 6 years ago. And it worked great for the time, but it now only boots into Snow Leopard, and occasionally it will boot into Mojave. But I have Big Sur on this and a bunch of other things that it no longer will boot into. And we're going to fix that and bring this kicking and screaming into 2025 with 2 SSDs. Let's go. Anyway, I'm Greg Hrutkay of Hrutkay Mods, and welcome to this episode where we're going to be trying to bring my early 2008 MacBook Pro back to life. As you can see here, it's running Snow Leopard right now, and that's one of the only OSs it will boot into. And why is that? It's because I decided to put a Vasecki drive into it 6 years ago, and that drive died spectacularly. It died. And, well, I had a spare Vasecki drive laying around that was twice the size, so we upgraded it off camera, of course, about a year ago. And believe it or not, this is one of my daily driver systems that I actually use on a daily, and it's been dead for about 3 months. And why is that? That's because the second Vasecki drive has died in it. So, I thought it's about time we finally get rid of Mojave on here. I have Big Sur on here, and I only had Big Sur on here because the optical drive is now a hard drive, and Big Sur is the last OS that could read the drive files off of it. But I've decided that I'm going to replace that with an SSD from Patriot. And I'm also going to replace the crappy Vasecki drive with an SSD from Patriot. These are both 512 gigs. We'll have double the SSD in it. And believe it or not, I use this more than my Apple Silicon Macs, or my 2019 Mac Pro, or even my 2014 MacBook Air when it works. And currently it doesn't work. Why do I use this thing? I like the form factor. I like the expandability, even though it's pretty much maxed out now. But it is a very good system for what it is. It might be a little slow. It might be really loud. It might run really hot. But it's a good system, and it can still do everything I need it to do when it doesn't come to like video editing. I even edit photos on this. I make my thumbnails on it sometimes. I like the form factor. I like the size. I like the fact that during the winter it can heat up my lap. Yeah, it gets quite hot. But today's video, we're going to be replacing the drives in this and setting it up with most modern day operating systems we can. We're going to still keep Snow Leopard on here because this Snow Leopard install here actually is a system that I use to back up my vintage Macs that have FireWire on them and all the rare Macs that have FireWire on them, like all my touchscreen Macs. So we're going to be, you want down? Okay. Sorry. So we're going to be trying to run as many modern day OSs on this as possible. And we're going to be installing Windows 10 on it. And of course we know Windows 10 support drops at the end of the year. So I've got the IoT LTSC 2021 serial number product key for it to run OS support until 2032. So we're going to try that out. So we're going to be installing Windows 10 onto the optical drive bay SSD. We're also going to be installing Ubuntu, and I like Ubuntu because it's just, I've always used it. It may not be the most efficient Linux, but it works well. We're also going to be installing Ventura because it's still currently getting software updates. It's the last one that runs on this semi-decently with an SSD. And, of course, we'll be running this install of Snow Leopard, which means we're going to be doing a lot of drive swapping, and this thing's going to be apart for most of the video while we do installs and stuff on it because I don't want to accidentally wipe anything, and we've got to transfer files in between 2 drives times 4. So even though the Vasecki drive's dying in this, it still occasionally boots into Mojave, which means the files are still there. I tried to fix Big Sur, it won't fix. I installed over top of it a few times, it won't do anything. So it's dead, it's dying, and we gotta get out of here before I lose everything. Hopefully we can just restore my Big Sur back up onto Ventura, because that's got all my crap on it. And yeah, I should have probably backed this thing up in the past. I haven't backed it up in about 2 years. There's a lesson for you. Keep your systems back. But anyway, we're going to make this thing come into a modern day 2025 and make it work well. And hopefully we won't have any disasters in the process. So let's go. All right, so before we start tearing it down, let's go over the specs of this system once again and show you exactly what's getting upgraded here. This is a fully maxed out MacBook Pro from early 2008 with the fastest Core 2 Duo you could get in one of these, the 2.6. If we go over to more info here and go over to ATA, we can see our 320 gig hard drive, which was housing my Windows 10 install, which no longer boots, and currently houses the Snow Leopard install, which does boot, which confuses the heck out of me because I don't know why the Windows 10 install no longer works. Go figure. And if we go over to Serial ATA, we'll see the crappy Vaseki drive, which is dying. It's currently also set up with multiple partitions. I'm going to hate losing Mojave, but I really want to run Ventura on this and Snow Leopard and just call it a day. So that's what we're going to do. And like I said, we're fully maxed out here. We've got 6 gigs of DDR2 in it. It's totally maxed out, and this is about as the best you can get. So we're going to start tearing it down now and figuring out how we're going to back everything up and restore everything, which should be interesting. I've got a handful of flash drives and a USB optical drive because installing Windows on something this old requires a CD. Ubuntu, I think, is going to be the hardest thing to do on this. I'm not really sure how I'm going to tackle that because everything that is not Mac OS on this has to run off of MBR. And it's kind of a pain to set up an MBR Linux install. So this should be interesting. My goal is to first back up my Snow Leopard install onto the new SSD, then installing Ventura, and then taking out the new SSD after we try to restore Big Sur over to it. That should be interesting. And then we're going to try to install Windows and Ubuntu, slap it back together, and pray it works. Yeah, I'm not super hopeful over this, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so first off, this is not a tutorial on how to tear one of these down, and I'm going to be doing this from memory. Because I'm too lazy to look up I should probably look up the guide. Give me a second. Alright, I broke down and looked it up just to make sure I don't miss anything, because I know me, I'm going to miss something. So we need to flip it over, like so. Take the battery out and start tearing it down. So let's go. All right, that's as far as we have to tear it down, and now we can start figuring out how we're going to do this. I've got a drive that should boot, and we're going to just try to clone my Snow Leopard partition over to the new SSD from here, and I just don't know how this is going to work. We will find out. I gotta get a keyboard. All right, first things first. Let's open this up here. This is actually a pretty quality drive. This is the cheapest drive I could find on eBay that was a brand name, and it came straight from Patriot. So hopefully it's going to be a good one, and it won't die like all the other ones I've been putting in here will. I don't remember how the drive comes out. So we got the new SSD in. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to turn this thing on without the keyboard plugged in, because I really don't want to have it hovering over the thing. There should be a power on contact switch here somewhere, and I don't remember where it is. It's usually around the board plug-in. We're going to just have to plug the board in. Alright, let's power it on. Unplug that. Go in option. Plug in the drive I forgot to plug in. I think it's here. Okay. We'll open up the 10.5 installer. Let's see what happens. Can't see what I'm doing, can you? Let's move you up here. All right. Utilities. Disk utility. We need 2 partitions. GUID. Make Snow Leopard like 100 gigs. And make that 376.94 for Ventura. Hit apply. Partition. We need to do restore. Source. Snow Leopard. Untitled 1 is destination. Erase. And restore. All right, it's going to copy over my copy of Snow Leopard. And then we'll take this drive out and see if it boots. And then after we do that, we've got to put the other SSD in it to start doing a bunch of hackery. Actually, we got to put this one in here so we can restore the backup. Yeah, this is going to be fun. So I'll be back. All right, we've got Snow Leopard installed on the new SSD. We've got the Vasecki drive in here. My formerly known as world's fastest 2012 13-inch MacBook Pro is making a installer drive right now. And once that is done, we can boot this into Snow Leopard, see if that works, and then take it from there. All right, so we've got the install drive made here. We're going to test the Snow Leopard partition real quick here. See if it boots up. Should boot up pretty quick if it transferred properly, and we're about to find out. Please work. Whoa. Hey. So my Snow Leopard partition's back on here. That's a good sign. Now we need to plug this into here and reboot it. And hopefully this will just work. I need to move the keyboard over to the USB 3 card because I don't have my hub on me. But I can't do that until after reboot. So let's reboot here. Go over to EFI boot, which is off the Vasecki drive. That still works. The open core part of it. We can go to install macOS Ventura, but before we do that, I have to transfer this over. Did that just restart? Okay, this is going to be a lot more challenging now. Uh-oh. Oh, crap. No, don't go into recovery. Yep, and here starts the pain. Something, oh, there it goes. Well, welcome to the Mojave recovery partition running off the Vaseki drive. It shows you it still works, sort of. The thing is, it took forever to boot up because SSD's dying. And now, we've got to get this thing to reset itself. So, restart. See if it goes back into OpenCore again. Install. And now we plug the keyboard into the USB 3 card, like so, and pray it works. Please work, please work, please work, please work. Hey! Hey! The mouse works, okay. So now we need to go to Disk Utility. View all devices. We want this one. Erase. APFS. Erase. Oh no. I just noticed a problem. Since we're installing Ventura, I can't read this drive in Ventura because it's going through IDE. Now I've got to find a drive adapter. Yippee! Done. Well, we can at least install Ventura while I go look for a drive adapter. All right, we're going to let this install Ventura, and we'll come back, hopefully with a drive adapter. I got to figure out where I have one. I'll be back soon. I found a drive adapter. Let's see if it powers on. It does power on, so we can transfer the files over. It's just going to take 10 times longer. So the install froze halfway through, and I think it's because I disconnected this drive. Even though it can't detect it, the hardware went wacko. So I'm going to try a different thing. I'm going to restore this image over to here and then update it with installed macOS Ventura, because I've had problems in the past with restoring, with Time Machine restoring crap. It just not booting back up. But if I just copy everything that's on this, hopefully it's okay, and then install, it should in theory just boot right up. So let's see what happens. Well, let's see if this works. I have a 50-50 shot here. 50% chance it works and 50% chance it might start working. Hopefully it continues to work. Might not. Still, yeah. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so far this isn't going well. I'm starting to run out of ideas, but we're going to see what happens. Yeah, I've been sitting here for like 20 or 30 minutes waiting for it to validate. It's still trying to, but I think I'm just going to install Ventura and pray that I can restore my backup, but I don't think it's going to work either, and we'll probably end up bricking the drive. But yeah, I'm tired of waiting. Yeah, it was actually working. It just wasn't giving me any updates on it. It managed to restore 15 gigs of the, I think it was like 50 gigs while I was waiting. So this might be a viable way to do it, but I don't want to wait an eon to do it, so I need to find something with SATA in it. 2 SATA drives. I'm thinking a Mac Pro, but I also have to be able to boot it up into the installer to do this. So, yeah, fun. I really want to try this because I think this will work a lot better than the other way I've been trying to do it. So, let's go find a monitor. I'm sitting on a Mac Pro right now. I wasn't kidding when I said I was sitting on a Mac Pro. Meet the 5,1 that was in the 5,1 versus 6,1 Mac Pro video. Yeah, I've got both drives plugged into it. I'm getting ready to connect the power. Of course, I've run out of table space, so I'm going to be doing this on the floor. Hopefully this works. Well, let's see if this works. Getting a weird feeling it isn't. And the more I think about it, the more I think this might not work at all. Because of how APFS is laid out. Yeah, that was a good idea. That took about 5 minutes to completely transfer over. Let me see here what data we have here now. Big Sur data. It actually restored the whole thing. It's awesome. So now we can plug it back into the MacBook Pro and try to install Ventura over top of it. I'm actually kind of curious if it will boot back into Big Sur. Alright, so we've got both SSDs installed here. It does see the Big Sur drive. It, of course, doesn't have OCLP on here, but it can still boot off of that. Let's see if it will boot Big Sur. That would be really neat if it does, because then that would definitely prove the SSD was dying. Oh. She's booting. Ooh, she's booting quick. What's it going to do? This is where it would freeze on the other drive. It might be frozen. That's not a good sign. Looks like I might end up losing the data on Big Sur because I don't think I can restore over. I'm going to let it run for a few minutes and see what happens. It's still trying its hardest to boot. I've seen the screen flicker a few times. It might actually load. I hope it does. I pulled the Vaseki drive apart. You know it's a cheap drive when the NAND doesn't even have anything on it. Yeah. Either way, this is a junk drive. It's no longer good. This might be corrupted now, but it's still trying to boot. It's trying to pull files off the OCLP boot, so we'll let it run for a while. I might have to put it into verbose mode and see what's going on, but I think it's just a corrupted install. We could try to install Ventura over top of it. That might actually fix it. If the drive's too corrupted, installing over top of it's not going to do anything, but I kind of want to try it. So we'll see. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it. I'm going to install Ventura on it, and hopefully the next video you see will be in Ventura. So let's see. Well, it's gotten past the freeze point this time. I'm getting tired. This might end up being a two-parter video. We'll see. Yeah, I knew this video was going to hurt. It was going to suck to film. The end product will be worth it, but I started filming this, I think, around 8:30 p.m. It is now 4:06 a.m. and we are still installing Ventura. It's frozen and crashed multiple times. I'm starting to wonder if the SSD's SATA cable's messed up, and that might be why it's doing it. But I don't really know. I just know one thing, I'm about to lose my mind, and I still have 2 more operating systems to go to. And that actually translates to a lot more than that, because I think I'm going to have to build on the installs. So at this point, I'm about to lose my mind. It's been sitting at this screen for over 20 minutes. How is less than a minute remaining over 20 minutes long? 30 minutes into this screen, I'm starting to think it's lying. Well, it restarted and I forced it into verbose, and it's doing the cleanup, which might be a good sign. Hopefully, it's going to actually finally boot after I've lost count of how many hours. This is very mesmerizing. I could stare at this all day long. The thing is, I don't want to. It's early in the morning and I just wish it would finish. It is trying its hardest to boot up. I saw a mouse pointer about 2 minutes ago. I'm starting to think the Vasecki backup was corrupted. I'm hoping I'm wrong, because I really want my data back. I could probably still pull it off the drive and piece it back into the install, but it should be easier if I could just restore it. It's almost 5:30 a.m. and I think I'm going to give up and install Ventura again without my backup on it, because I'd say there's something corrupted that's throwing everything off. Yay! Once again, it's been sitting on less than a minute remaining for probably about 20 or 30 minutes. I'm about to lose my mind. I'm about to be... yeah. And I'm getting there very fast. It's almost 7:15 a.m. I've been at this since, I actually think it was around 10 o'clock, not 8:30 or whenever I said it was. And we're finally into Ventura. I've been at this for hours. And I'm only halfway through. And I'm not acting. I'm actually losing my mind right now. But, yeah. Let's get this running real quick. It didn't patch. I've been going through these menus for 5 minutes now, and I just finally got to the create your account screen. If you don't understand, when OCLP doesn't patch once you've installed, everything's just a slow crawl, and I'm about to lose it. I'm still in the setup menus, waiting for it to load. If you notice the time in the corner, I'm still setting it up. Yeah, this is enjoyable. And I'm not sharing my analytics with Apple, so I need to go back now. Right? Well, I take it that my patch install drive is a little messed up. It didn't even install the OCLP app, which I've never had happen before. I can't find it anywhere on the system, and that's why I didn't patch it. And now we've got it hooked up to my airport here, so we can try to download OCLP, but it just doesn't really want to do anything right now. I'm going crazy. It's almost 8 a.m. It's currently set to California time over there, so yeah, that's why it says 4:53, but it's actually almost 8 a.m. Eastern time. Been waiting for it to finish root patching for a while. This takes a while when it's not patched, and I'm not waiting any longer. Let's wrap up the video, and we're going to have a part 2, because at this point I'll see you in a minute. I knew this project was going to be a pain, and I'm only halfway through the pain. we will go over Ventura and Snow Leopard and all this stuff in part 2, and also Windows and Linux. Unless I make a part 3, I might end up going over all this in part 3. I knew this was going to take a long time. I figured it'd take maybe a day or two, but I figured the Windows and the Linux would be the hard part. It's going to be worth it. Don't get me wrong about that. Everything we're doing here is going to be worth it in the end. And you'll see. I can't take it any longer. I've been working at this for over 10 hours. And it's never taken me so long to install an OS before, when I've never had this kind of problem on a system like this before. It works. At least it will work once it's finally patched. It's still patching. I'm literally losing it. If I don't finish this video right now, I'm going to snap this thing in half. That's how mad I am right now. So we're going to wrap up the video after I catch my breath. This is not how I wanted this video to end. I want to do this all in one video, but at this point, as you can tell, it's a computer. It's a computer I want to punch. But like I said, it's going to be worth it. Anyway, guys, stick around for the ending bloopers and stuff that happened before I started losing my mind. We have some fun little dog videos and stuff. I hope you enjoyed those. It will help you calm down and help me calm down when I start editing this. Stick around for part 2. It will be coming next week, probably. If I can muster up the strength to torture myself more. But I promise you, it's going to be worth doing this. This is going to be the ultimate early 2008 MacBook Pro when we're done, once again. And it's going to be reliable and very quick for what it is. So I'm looking forward to that. Don't forget, I do have Patreon and also memberships. If you want to do all that, you know how to do that. Please like and subscribe. And I'm going to end this video now before I break something. Anyway, that's the end of today's video, and this has been a Hrutkay Mods video. It literally has almost finished patching right as I ended the video. Yeah, it's just been really testing my patience. Yeah. Anyway, see you guys. 8:10 a.m. roughly, and we're finally patched. Yeah, it works, so awesome. Hello and welcome to part 2 of me trying to turn my early 2008 MacBook Pro into a modern day system for 2025. And in today's video, we will be installing Windows and Linux, at least trying to, on this system. And hopefully it won't be as bad as part 1, which you can watch up here if you haven't yet. Definitely check that out. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get right to it. Hi. So yeah, this is the day after part 1. I got a little bit of rest and then decided I need to finish setting up Ventura, which I did. And let's talk about that. This is Ventura, which I set up earlier today by reinstalling Ventura for like the 5th time. Because I tried one more time to restore my Big Sur install, and it didn't work. It still wouldn't boot. So something was majorly corrupted with that install. But I still had my Mojave update, well, back up here, and I I didn't get to keep a whole lot of the apps that I had on it, but this is my Mojave install, which I copied over to the SSD, and it worked. It's logged into my Apple account already. It had all my settings on it. It works. It's just, it was kind of a pain. I had to clone it over to the SSD, and then I had to install Ventura over top of it. And it works. It's Ventura. All the acceleration works. In fact, it actually patched automatically this time, so that wasn't a problem. It set up really fast, and that's the way we should have went the first time, but oh well. Anyway, I just wanted to address that. We still have this thing set up with Snow Leopard and Ventura. Now we're going to take and use this drive here to try to install Windows 10. And I don't know how that's going to go, so we're going to find out together. Alright, so before we start installing Windows 10, I want to talk about how you have to install Windows 10. Since this is an early 64-bit EFI Mac, it still acts like a 32-bit EFI Mac, sadly, which means you have to use the images like I have up in this video here, which are pre-made, so it will just see the NBR part of the disk. And then you can install it off of that. And the only drawback of that is we're installing, I think this is, let's see here. Let's see here. Stupid Macs. Let's see here. This is Windows 10 32-bit EFI x64 1703. So this is from early 2017, but the nice thing about it is it will install and then you can just update it and it will go into 22H2, and then we can try to play around product keys to see if we can get it to go into IoT mode, enterprise-wise. So now we have to restart the system. I have to unplug the SATA cable on this so it doesn't see it. And, well, try to boot off of that. So, yeah, it's sketchy, but it should, in theory, work. So let's do it. If I time this right, I probably won't blow anything, because this should all be USB and SATA on this connector. So that way I don't have to plug the keyboard back in to start it back up. So we'll restart it, and the second it shuts off the OS, we'll unplug this. I wouldn't recommend doing this usually, but I'm a little lazy. So yeah, let's see what happens. All right, that's unplugged. Hold in the Option key. Spins up the optical drive. It should only see the optical drive in the boot menu. I hope. Come on. You can do it. Please go into the boot menu. I don't know how long I should hold this. What are we doing here? We're not doing a whole lot of anything right now. Hello? So I think unplugging the SATA drive has freaked out the system, and that's why it's not working. I'm not really sure. Crap. Quickly power cycle it and see if it just kicks back on. Please turn back on. Turn back on. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, this is going to be another long video. Okay. I was trying not to do this. Yeah, there it goes. It sounds like it's reading the drive. Yeah, Windows. And we'll let it boot up. Now, the only problem with this modified disk is it takes a very, very, very long time to boot up. It will act like it's not doing anything. You just gotta sit and wait. It will be at this screen for a solid few minutes. So I'll be back when it's done loading into the installer. We're about, I don't know, a good 2 minutes into booting here. And the fans have ramped up to about max. And it acts like it's frozen. We should be seeing a beach ball in a second. Well, the loading circle. So, yeah. Just have to wait it out. Well, I've lost track of time about this point. It's been probably 4 or 5 minutes. It just started spinning up the drive again. It's definitely trying to boot it. Deja vu. I'm getting flashbacks from last night. Please boot. Now I'm starting to wonder if it's actually doing it or not. It's reading the disk. Oh yeah, it's definitely reading. It's loading it. Oh boy, this is taking forever. I'd say we're about 10 minutes into the boot. Yeah. My rule of thumb with this install media is if it takes more than 20 minutes or so, it's not going to boot. We're getting close. And it's still trying to boot. I'm starting to look for another optical drive because it might be the drive. So, we'll see. Right as I was about to give up, it's loading. It took about, I don't know, 11, 12 minutes. And we are in the installer. Yeah, these modified discs are a pain, but they're worth it because they'll boot on anything made before about 2009, 2010. So, yay. Next, install. This should automatically activate. It had a copy of Pro on it in the first place. And I don't know how the Enterprise key is going to work. From what I understand, Pro is the same as Enterprise. It just uses a different key. It's a volume key, which means the key I bought. I'm not telling you how I bought it. But needless to say, I shouldn't have it. See here, format. Alright, and next. It's installing Windows 10. We'll let it install and we'll come back when it's done with installing 1703. Well, we're getting close to having Windows 10 1703 installed. I've got Boot Camp 4 and Boot Camp 6 on here. I'm going to set up Boot Camp on here real quick, get all the drivers going, and then we'll come back and then we'll update it to 22H2 and etc., etc. Boy, just from last night alone, I've forgotten how badly having no drivers really slows down a PC or a Mac. Oh, I've been going through this setup for a long time at this point. Well, eventually I'll get the drivers installed. It's so slow. This is 1703. 1703 runs pretty darn fast on old hardware. But with no drivers, finally! I've been waiting here for over a minute, waiting for a USB 3 drive to load this. Yeah. First off, when's the last time you've seen this wallpaper on a system? Yeah, it's been a while. Second off, I'm thinking that the PATA to SATA adapter, even though it worked fine with the hard drive, I don't think this SSD likes this. I'm hoping it's just a graphics driver problem because it's the only driver that refuses to install right now. But I'm getting this weird feeling. I might have to find a different adapter or just scrap the whole Windows Linux idea. Because, yeah, I'm running out of ideas of what to use in that bay. This SSD's got to work. So, it's still extracting. I've been sitting here for probably an hour now trying to get drivers on it, and it's just, it's slow. It's really, really really, really slow. Also, the clock's about 4 hours ahead. Don't know why. It's actually 4:45 a.m. Doesn't really make me feel any better because I'm tired again. But we'll see how this goes. Okay, so we've got all the drivers installed. It's booting back up. It's taking forever to boot up. It made me think, I remember when I built this thing, the PATA connector was messed up. And I've been playing around with it. Now, it was on the original ribbon cable. I don't know if that's got a part to do with it. Actually, it seems a little faster. I don't know. We're going to see in a second. If it's running this slow on 1703, 22H2 is going to be a lot worse. I'm not holding my breath at this point. And I'm starting to kind of regret making this short little series on this thing. Like I said, it's going to be worth it, but only if I can get it to work. It might be okay. We'll see. Well, I have tweaked a few things. I've reseated everything. It seems a little faster, but I'm still not really sure if it's working right. We're going to let it restart and see what happens. It seems to be working fine. It's maxing the disk out at idle, which I have no clue why. And it's, But hey, it does see the other drive too, which is, I guess, cool. But why is it doing 100% on it? That's why it's so laggy and takes forever to do anything. I have no answers for that. Well, this might be a corruption in 1703, and the only thing I can do is try 22H2 to see if it fixes it. The thing is, I don't understand how it got corrupted, although it did give me a few errors when it was installing it first. The thing is, this is going to take probably hours to update with it accessing this constantly. And I'm getting kind of angry here. Hey, wait a minute. Oh, never mind. It's back to 100. Yeah. Well, I can safely say it runs surprisingly quick booting up, which means that the drive probably works fine, and there's something corrupted in this Windows install, and I don't feel like reinstalling Windows, so let's hopefully fix it with an update, and if not, then I'll have to reinstall Windows again. Yeah. It just fixed itself. It was running a bunch of processes that I think were Windows setting up things. It actually, it's really responsive now. Everything seems to be working. I mean, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to run. Now we've got to update it anyway. But yeah, I think I figured it out. So yes, it's 6:08 a.m. I am getting pretty darn tired, and yeah, I knew there was going to be a bottleneck here because, well, we're talking about PATA versus SATA. These are both SATA 3 drives. That's a SATA 1, and that's a PATA, which I think runs at like 100, and this runs at 150, I think. Okay, I knew there was going to be a bottleneck. And it's not very obvious with hard drive, believe it or not. This thing, when it was running Windows, ran really well. But now that it's got something that isn't moving, yeah, you can tell it spikes up and down, up and down, up and down, and it's faster than it was now that all those background processes aren't running. But as we can see here, it's still maxing it out. So hopefully by the time it's updated and all that stuff, we won't notice the huge bottleneck that is driving me up the wall. This is actually going very well. I've also kind of noticed that my fans sound a little sick. Yeah. So that's another thing I've got to fix on this. You kind of love old technology. Here's a little tip. If you're ever updating Windows to a newer major version, you can usually pull up your task manager and all that stuff by just hitting the Windows key. It will bring up the taskbar, and then you can right click and open up Task Manager, where you can see that this drive is still bottlenecking like crazy. This has gotten really slow. It is almost 7:40 a.m. and I'm still waiting for this to update 22H2, and I have a feeling I'm going to be here another few hours. So I started filming this video, I think, around 2 a.m. I figured I'd film the Windows part and go for a rest this time before I did the Linux part. But it's now 8 a.m. I've been doing this for like 6 hours. The original part of the Windows 10 install took a little while, but it did install. And then we had the driver issues and the SSD bottlenecking problem. And we are still trying to update to 22H2 6 hours into this video. I'm getting these flashbacks to the 2006 Mac Mini videos that I filmed towards the end of last year. I feel like I'm hoping this is going to be that Linux video, basically, where we went through hell, and it took me forever to get Linux to install, but the end result was really, really good, and we had a nice, solid, reliable OS install. I'm hoping we have the same results, because right now I'm going through the same hell, and I'm really about to lose it at this point. So, yeah. It's still updating. Yeah, it's about 8:30. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to bed. It's been sitting at 86% for like 30 minutes or so, and I'm done waiting. I'm just going to let it run, and hopefully when I come back over to finish filming in multiple hours from now, it will be done. And we'll be in 22H2, and it will just be happy and, bubbly. But, yeah, I'm done for the night. So it's about 12 hours later. It's like 8 p.m. It installed, but, yeah, it's worse than it was. It's a lot worse than it was. And I'm starting to think it's this converter, which I bought off of eBay 6 years ago, a cheap one. And I want to say that the board that's in it isn't SSD friendly. It was hard drive friendly. It ran fine with the hard drive, but this converter doesn't work right with this SSD. I could either try a different SSD, which I can't think if I have anymore, or it's still loading. Yeah. Or I could go with a brand name adapter. The problem is I want to get an iFixit one because I figure that will work. They don't sell it in the U.S. I can only order it in Europe. See if it... Yeah. You can load now. This isn't going well. It's running 22H2. It's fully activated. It doesn't work. Trying Linux on this would probably be a mistake. There it goes. And to top it all off, I woke up coughing my head off and sneezing. I think I'm getting the flu, just like my friend that I had to take to the hospital the other day because it nearly him. So I'm tired. I feel awful. And this thing's making me want to myself. And I'll probably have to bleep that out because YouTube doesn't like when you say stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, it's... yeah, I think this little converter chip right here is my problem. I've never even heard of that brand before. And I don't think it likes this SSD. I could try a different SSD, but I really, really don't feel like reinstalling Windows again. I'm really not sure what to do. I just know I'm really frustrated at this point. Well, we switched it over to the SATA Bay just to see if it was the stupid chip, and it's the stupid chip. Look at that. It runs fine now. So now I've got to find an adapter that actually works with the stupid... Ooh! This thing is just really getting on my last nerve. Yeah, I know, girl. Yeah, I know. So anyway, that's a new problem that I can't fix without a new adapter. Because now I can actually control the thing, and it doesn't take a year to do anything. Well, we're just going to continue on with it in the SATA port for now, because I don't have much of a choice. I want to finish this video. Well, I guess do this in part 3 when I get an actual adapter that works. This works fine now with it in the right port. I'm pretty sure it's just this stupid chip on this adapter here, which is junk. So, yeah, it works fine now. It boots up really fast, and it would boot up pretty darn fast on IDE too if the adapter worked. So we're going to trudge on and go into installing Linux, which should be interesting. I don't know how that's going to work. Colin recommended getting an adapter with a Marvell chipset in it, but I can't find one. So, we may end up having to make one. I don't know. I know somewhere, someone out there's got something that will work, but I haven't found anything yet. So we'll just go on from here, and yeah, I'll find something for part 3. So I think we're going to try the LTS 2404 licking lemurs or whatever the hell they call it and see how that works. I would go with the latest version, but this has NVIDIA graphics in it, and I'm afraid that if I update it, it won't work right. And right now, long-term support will work fine for me. So yeah, we'll download this. I'll get Rufus set up here, and we will see if it will boot. I've got a weird feeling it's not going to boot off a USB, but we're going to try. I tell you one thing, it's so much faster when it's actually on a supported chip. Yeah, I kind of wish this had dual SATA in it, but, well, you know, old technology and all. It was dated back when it was new. Put a PATA drive in one of these things. Hey, they fixed it later that year on the late 08s. I just wish they had on this. It's so stupid how well this works now that it's actually on a happy controller. I should have probably thought of this a while ago. I figured this adapter would be good. And now I really regret my decision 6 years ago. That's a sign. Don't try to save money when it comes to a Mac adapter. That also reminds me, this isn't even a Mac adapter. I just found a random PC adapter. Cheapest one I could find. And, well, it worked fine, like I said, for hard drives. But that might also be why Windows refused to boot after a while. I bet you my Windows 10 install on that drive actually still works. Oh well. Alright, so we got Rufus on here. I'm going to try the add fixes for old BIOSes, which I never tried before, and it might have actually fixed the 32-bit EFI. It might not do anything. Don't know. So we're going to start it. We'll try it in ISO image mode. Hit OK. And it will start making it, and hopefully this will just work. Alright, so we've got the boot drive set up here. I'm going to put this into a port that will actually boot off of its stock. There we go. Plug that in there. There is the Ubuntu drive. I hope this works. Restart. It's so fast now. Oh, I suffered through all this for nothing. Hold in Option and pray it shows up as a quote-unquote Windows drive. Hey, that's not a good sign. It says EFI boot. It's probably not going to work. I hope it does. Yeah, I hit boot from next volume and it booted into the biosimulation for MBR, which translates to who's trying to boot off of EFI, which this thing won't do. And that's why it kept crashing. Why did I have to say I was going to put Linux on this? Now, this isn't a good sign. I remade the drive the normal way, and it still says EFI boot. Oh, boy. All right, so we've got Matt's image here again. We're going to put this in here. There it goes. Sort of. It just, there it goes. Okay. Windows. It's reading the disk. We'll just let it read for a while and I guess see what happens. Hey, it's actually working. I've got a weird feeling it's not going to get past this, but we're going to see. We're currently trying to boot into 1804 Busty Beaver, Busy Beaver, Bloated Beaver, whatever they call it. So we'll see what happens. Well, we are still making progress here. It's still loading and I'm... Man, am I tired. Oh, it's called Bionic Beaver. It's nice. Holy crap, it actually booted. I wasn't expecting it to do that. Hey, look, it's the Blind Beaver desktop. It's still loading. It's I'm actually impressed. It looks really good on a MacBook screen. This is cool. You guys, I started filming it around 8 p.m. It's now 10:47. Hit continue. It's been taking a while. Here we go. This is what I was hoping it was going to do. It's going to allow me to install alongside Windows 10. Sometimes Ubuntu is it's a giant pain in the rear end. But this should allow me to still boot Windows 10's partition and everything and not delete anything, which I was hoping it would do. Let's hit continue. Now, I don't use Ubuntu as much as Windows, so we're going to do what we did with Snow Leopard and give it 100 gigs. Maybe a little bit more, because I'm not going to fight with that. Hit install now. Now, this is the moment of truth. This is either going to wipe the whole drive or partition it correctly and install. I'm hoping it's partitioning correctly. This is either going to brick the drive and I'm going to throw a fit, or it will just work. I'm hoping it will just work. And it's starting to install. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping this isn't a huge disaster, which this rate it's been going to be. It's been a big disaster at this point. I can't even come up with words anymore. Well, wish me luck that this works. Hey, that's a good sign. Let's first see if it will boot into Windows 10, because that means the boot menu works. The boot menu works. So I'll come back when we're back to that menu. All right, here's the moment of truth. Will Ubuntu work? Huh? Oh, hey, it worked. Oh. All right, so I've got to get the Wi-Fi drivers installed and then start updating it. Technically, I could do it after updating it because I've got it plugged into my airport, but yeah. I want to try to get the Wi-Fi drivers to work. That's the biggest pain because every Broadcom driver seems to be different. So, yeah, I'll be back in a bit. So yeah, it sees it. It's a BCM 4322, so I need to find the drivers for that to get it installed. Yippee! Yeah. All right, now we just need to restart it, unplug the Ethernet cable, and see if we've got Wi-Fi. All right, let's see if we've got Wi-Fi. Hey, we've got Wi-Fi. Awesome. Okay, we don't have Wi-Fi, which is a problem sometimes when it comes to Broadcom drivers. It's one of the reasons why I love Linux. And now I've got to delete things to make it work, if it works. It will connect to the Wi-Fi, but it has no internet. And this is a problem because of something that's built into Linux that you've got to get rid of to make it work. If this is even the right driver, it might just be able to see the networks and it may not work at all. So, yeah. Let's see if that fixes it. And we have internet. Ta-da! Awesome. Now I can update it to the next 20 different updates. Yay! All right, we're updating the floppy Mufasa or whatever it's called. And then we've got to go to, I don't know what 22 is called. And then we're on 24, so it's going to take a while again. Yay. Well, it is now the morning of part 1's video release, and I've got to finish doing all the tags and thumbnails while we wait on this to install 20.04. So, yeah, I'm double teaming it right now, and it's this whole project's driving me insane. I don't think this upgrade could go any slower if it tried. It is now 12:43 a.m. and I am getting very, very worn out again. Plus, if I do have the flu, it's starting to really kick my butt. So, well, welcome to 2004 Funky Feline, and now we've got to update to the next one, which I don't know the name of, so alright, it's time to upgrade to Jammin' Jellyfish. And welcome to Jumpin' Jellyfish. I've got one more to go, and we're finally fully updated, and everything will just work, I hope. And now we install 2404 LTS. Okay, now I'm really getting sick of this. I think Jalapeno Jellyfish and I are going to get into a big giant fight in a minute. Alright, if I can't do it the easy way, we'll try it the hard way. Well, it's going to download for a while. I don't know if this is going to actually work, but we're going to try it. I'll be back in a sec. Well, I guess it's updating. I don't know. We'll find out. I've never updated Linux through this way, but I mean, it's Linux. Command upgrading is a very common thing with terminal and stuff. So, yeah. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, she's updating. She's apparently started updating the fonts. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, it's updating. At least we know it is now. It's already updated the Royal Numbat wallpaper. And it hasn't even rebooted yet. That's neat and concerning at the same time. I should have done this in the first place because this is a lot faster if this worked properly. Let's try to reboot it. See what happens. I don't know if it updated or not because that's the same boot screen. I think it did update. This does look different. Well, that's not good. It's not good at all. I don't think it updated properly. Shoot me. Well, Nimble Nutbat doesn't work. Yeah. I really regret filming this now. There's still hope here. I'm in recovery right now. The thing is, I've never been able to actually install Linux. So, yeah. I'll see what I can figure out here. Cannot upgrade. An upgrade from Noble to Jammy is not supported with this tool. Finish. Please press enter. Well, that was useful. Now, something tells me that I forgot to type in a command before I restarted it. And this was probably me right at the end. It won't do anything now, which means I'm going to have to wipe it. I refilmed the ending because I was done with this, but I can't leave it be. We're booting back into the live CD, which is 1804. I'm going to see if 1804 can somehow recover 2404, since this is the only live CD I can get this to boot. So, I don't know. We're going to play around with the live CD and see if some commands can fix it or something. So, I was reading on Reddit that this is a common problem with updating, which I've never had this problem before, but this is a problem with updating to 2404. And if you can get it into a shell, you can actually type this in and pray it works. I don't think that's going to make a difference. Oh, it might be. Well, it was worth a shot. Well, I figured out this is still connected to the internet while it's in the shell. This is kind of neat. Let's just try to re-update it and see if that fixes it. I apparently didn't have networking enabled like I thought I did. So I'm going to try this again and see if it will actually fix itself. Yay. It's actually downloading files this time. This might be promising. This might actually work. I did a full upgrade command, and it's downloading all the missing files. Oh wow, it might actually work. Oh, here goes nothing. So after doing all this hard work for the last 2 days, I realized that I can't just switch it over to Enterprise for the IoT LTSC, so I'm going to have to wipe the whole drive again, I think. And this time I don't know how to do it because, well, you need that, but it won't boot on a regular one usually. We're going to see if it does, but, you know, I might be wrong. Next. It might give me an error. It's not giving me an error. Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, it's still going to wipe everything, but there's nothing really on here, so. It's probably going to screw up my Linux install I just put back on here. But let's see what happens. Glad I didn't set anything up on here yet. So far, it hasn't overwritten the Grub bootloader. It's actually a good sign, I hope. Huh. We'll see what happens. This is incredibly frustratingly quick. It kills me that I installed Windows on this stupid thing first. I mean, it just jumped from 15 to 25. It's almost done, and I've only been sitting here maybe 20 minutes. Oh, it's restarting again. Let's see if it's still got the Grub loader on it. Sweet. Yeah, we're going to be an enterprise before you know it. You know, I hate getting here, but trial and error is a really nice thing because you then learn the easy way to do things. And I will be telling you the secret on how to get all this set up properly after I figure out how to not sign into a Microsoft account on Enterprise, which they say you can't do, but I think you can bypass it. So, yeah. Okay, this is getting old. Yeah, I just had to type in a fake email address, and yeah, it let me bypass it. It's not as easy to bypass on Enterprise, but it's actually, in a way, easier to bypass than on other copies of Windows. So, yeah, it's strange. Boy, converting the evaluation version to a full version is a pain, and I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know if this is actually worth it. Well, it is, because it's going to be supported until 2032, but yeah, it's a pain. So I've figured out that the keys I got from the shady site don't work. And I don't even remember where I got them from. I've had them for a few weeks now, so even if yeah, you should check what you buy and make sure it works before. Yeah, oh well. So I had to buy another key from another shady site that has a guarantee on it, which I don't know if they'll honor that. And I'm waiting for that key. So currently I don't have this activated, but I do have Windows 10 Enterprise on here, and it will hopefully be IoT LTSC very soon. I hope I actually installed the right one. I figure I did because it's 21H2, so it should be. But yeah, let's talk about the magic of doing this. First, you got to make sure that your drive is on a good controller. You've got to format your drive in MBR, and this is for any Mac that is pre-late 2008. The early 2008 Mac, they all have really wonky 64-bit and 32-bit EFIs, which are kind of crap. But to do all this, you've got to use my modified image, which we linked earlier in the video. It doesn't matter which one you use as long as it's a 64-bit one. And then you've got to have the evaluation version of Windows 10 Enterprise, LTSC, and you've got to start the installer in that copy of Windows that you just installed. Enterprise will wipe that whole install, and you'll start over from scratch, but that's the only way you can get LTSC to install. After you do that, you can activate it, but considering that the only links you can get for the ISO is for the evaluation version, it installs the evaluation version, and you've got to convert it first by looking up a tutorial on that. We're not covering any of this because this is really shady. Windows 10 Enterprise is meant for businesses and volume licensings and stuff, but you know, do some Googling. You can figure it out on your own. I'm 100% sure you can do that. But anyway, once you get this converted to the full version of Windows 10, you type in your new product key and it activates. At least it should. I don't know if mine will or not. We'll see. And then after you do all that, you can do the Linux install. You use Matt's image, which is currently what's installed on this. I'm back on Busy Beaver or Busty Beaver or Bumpin' Beaver, whatever it's called. I'll have to update it again, but you start with that, and then you go through all the updates, go from 1804 to 2004 to 2204 to 2404, and then you're updated. Or you can even go past that, but still, once you're done with that, you've got your drive set up. I've got to go into Linux, do all that, and wait for my key from the shady website. And hopefully that key will activate, and then we can see if everything's good. I didn't really think this video would take, like, I don't know, how long's it been now? Going on 3 days. And I think this is going to be twice as long as part 1. I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it really was. I knew it was going to be bad, but this is really bad. And it's mainly because of this pile of junk. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to start working on Linux again. You watched me update all the way through 2204 before it corrupted. So this time I'm going to take it slow and pray that nothing bad happens. And we'll be back. It's 9:48 a.m. I'm back to where I was on the Linux installs and getting ready to try 2404 again. I got my product key and yeah, still doesn't work. I don't know where you get these keys. And I don't know if I actually installed the right enterprise. I'm pretty sure I did. It's the LTSC. I'm confused. Arg, mateys. I activated it. I don't think this is LTSC. Yeah, well, we're not going into details about how I activated it. I'm going to have to reinstall it again, but right now I'm going to finish up Linux and wrap up the video and then figure out why I can't figure out how I install LTSC. But yeah, deja vu, but this time it's frozen. Yeah. Should I restart it? I don't know. So from what I'm doing with research here, I don't think you can just install LTSC the way that we did it, which means I'm going to have to make a modified disk with LTSC to do it, and I'll do that off camera. We're going to demonstrate this whole thing when it's finally updated, which I think just froze again. Yeah, it did exactly the same thing it did last time. I thought I fixed it this time too. Anyway, I'm going to have to make a modified disk to install LTSC. The nice thing is now I know I don't have to wipe the whole thing to do it because I know how to modify everything. But we've got to figure out why this is not working with 2404. I mean, it's not a big deal. 2204 is still supported until 2027, but I wanted to run a more recent version. So I'm so tired right now, and I'm sick on top of it, and I just want this to be over with at this point. So yeah. Well, good news is it finally unfroze itself right when I was about to give up and restart the system again. Cool. It might actually work this time. So I've done some more research, and yes, I did install regular enterprise. I don't know how, because it was definitely the LTSC ISO, and it shouldn't have the regular enterprise on it, but I guess it automatically defaulted to it or something. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to have to make a custom image and pray it works. The reason why I stopped updating these images is because, one, you can just update it, and two, because they got so big and it just didn't really work properly anymore. After, I think it was 1709, it just didn't seem to work. Hopefully the LTSC disk can be done, but I'm not holding my breath on that. If I do make it work, I will be sharing that image in a new video, and showing you off that you can do it. But of course I won't be supplying any keys or anything like that to make it work. So the good news is I guess I have 3 keys now. That's why it's not activating, because it's the wrong version of Windows. But yeah, anyway, this is updating. We're getting close to wrapping up the video finally. You can do it the way that I described it in the beginning. I just realized it. I'm looking back at my last videos I've been recording earlier. It said evaluation LTSC on the desktop. That just means I installed the wrong conversion to convert it to the proper version of Enterprise, and it changed the license on it. So I got to figure out how to fix that, which I can't, I don't think, do now. So I've got to reinstall it either way. But if I can figure out how to change the evaluation copy to the full version, it will work with the key, hopefully. So yeah, it's been a very interesting night and morning. It's almost noon now. It's 10:30. So part 1's about to release at this point. Man, I'm about tired. And I don't feel good either. But yeah, this is still updating, and it's actually working. So I'm getting to the goal that I was planning on. So I'm saving the Linux boot for last, but I figured out a way you can convert it back over to LTSC and make it actually work properly. So we're going to try that and see if it works. Okay, this is getting old already. We've got to reinstall it again, but this time at least we get to keep our files. Yay? Yeah, it froze the second restart. Yeah. And part 1 goes live in about 20 minutes. I'm so tired and sick. Alright, so I decided to just do a wipe again on it and not keep the files. And so now we've got to sign in with Microsoft again. And according to Microsoft Enterprise, you have to sign in with either a work or school account or join a domain, because it's Windows 10 Enterprise. It's meant for business. There's no way to bypass it. You can't do a reg edit. You can't do commands in command prompt. Or you can just do this. Oh, it's actually a real email address. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. There it goes. And then you can sign in with a local account. And that's how you bypass it. Isn't that neat? And here we are with LTSC actually officially on here. Now let's see if my key works. Well, the first sketchy keys actually worked. I have support until 2032 now. Yeah. Now I can set up the drivers on this again, but we're not going to do that in this video because I've installed the drivers about 20 times at this point. But it's easy. I mean, it's just boot camp drivers. So we're going to now see if Linux boots. If Linux boots, I'm going to call it for the day because, well, it is 33 minutes past part 1 being released. And yeah, I'm beyond about to lose it. I'm freezing and I'm just really sick, and I don't feel, I'm getting off the topic. Let's just do it. All right, hedge your bets. Was all this pain and suffering worth it to get 2404 on here? I hope. Please work, please work, please work, please work, please work, please work, please work. Please work, please work, please work, please work. So maybe it just needs a recovery boot and it will work. Well, that's a good sign, maybe. I hope that's a good sign. Come on! It installed totally fine this time. This was the first boot up in the 2404. Why? It's like 12:40 p.m. I don't even remember when I started filming tonight, aka last night. I finally had this whole thing running properly other than this stupid adapter. And I knew it was going to boot in a 2404. That was going to be the finishing touch for part 2. Yeah, it booted. Yeah, it booted. I'm very sick. Super, super sick. I'm freezing. At least we got IoT LTSC installed and activated, finally. But the fact that 2404 won't boot this thing's driving me insane. And the problem is the constant clicking of this fan that's going out. I'm going to be hearing this in my dreams. I'm totally losing it now. I can't take this much longer. If I don't get 2404 working on this thing in part 3, I'm chucking this out the window. And I love this system, so I don't want to do that. But it's been such a pain in the ass. And it's mainly because that stupid adapter. It's what took so long in this video, because I waited over a day installing Windows 10 the first time, and I've installed Windows 10 like 5 times on this thing since then in the last like few hours. Yeah, that adapter I'm going to hit with a hammer and then burn it. But anyway, this is not how I wanted the video to end. I wanted part 3 to be the, hey, the carrier came in, it works, we're slapping everything back together, I'm showing you all the OSs. Part 3 is probably going to be me crying a lot. Trying to get Linux to work. And having the replacement carrier in, I hope, and it working. This is probably going to be a 4-parter at this point. But I am done with filming for quite some time because I'm very sick. I'm very tired. I need sleep. So that's the end of today's video. I'm sure you didn't enjoy this video because I'm sure it's not a good. I don't know if I can edit this video and make it even semi-enjoyable. I want you to understand the pain that I'm going through with this thing. For your entertainment, well, that and I need this thing to actually work because it's my daily user. It's one of the reasons why I'm so upset right now, because it's never done anything quite this bad to me before. And I feel kind of betrayed, because it's kind of like a part of me at this point. I really love this thing. It's the reason why I haven't snapped it in half yet. Anyway, So look forward to part 3. And yeah, that's the end of today's video. Don't forget, I do have a Patreon and memberships. If you'd like to do that, you know how to do it. Please like and subscribe. And that's the end of today's video. This has been a Hrutkay Mods video. I can't even get to the camera. Holy crap. So that's not the end of today's video? Let's try normal boot. I don't know if I should set and wait or just say it's broken. Huh? Ah! Huh? It booted into recovery. Recovery doesn't have any graphics, but it might actually boot. This is the never-ending episode. All right, I'm going to work on this more, I guess. Well, that excitement was short-lived. It will boot into recovery, but it won't go anywhere past that. So it's less broken than it was last time, but it won't boot into the regular kernel. It won't boot into the other version of the kernel. And I'm too tired to try to figure it out, so that was an exciting ending until it's still broken. At least I don't want to cry as badly now. Anyway, see you guys. Well, it took about a week, but I finally got 4 different operating systems onto my early 2008 MacBook Pro to bring it into 2025 kicking and screaming. And did it kick and scream? We've got 3 fully supported OSs, 2 of them which still have years and years to come with support, 1 of them that I can still update for a while if I want to, and 1 of them which is a classic OS for this thing, Snow Leopard, which of course doesn't have updates, but it's still nice to have. So in today's video, we'll be talking about how I got this to work and showing you all the OSs. So let's go. Anyway, I'm Greg Hrutkay of Hrutkay Mods, and welcome to part 3 of me bringing my early 2008 MacBook Pro kicking and screaming into 2025 and making it functional for the foreseeable future. Yeah, it's been a heck of a time. It's taken me over a week to make this all work properly. And yeah, I probably would have finished it faster if I didn't have the flu, which involved me sleeping for a few days. And the last day I was sick, I spent quite literally 36 hours straight trying to make this work. Yeah, it's a great way to recover, is to work on a computer for 36 hours straight while you're still sick. but I was determined to make it work. And we figured out how to make it work, and we're going to briefly talk about that. Currently, we have 4 different operating systems on this, 3 of them that are fully supported right now, and 1 of them that, of course, isn't. And 2 of those are supported until 2032, where Ventura, which is the other supported OS, gets the support dropped towards the end of 2025. And that's not really a big deal because we can still upgrade the OS again twice and still have security updates for now. Hopefully, we'll get 1 more OS update before Apple drops Intel support, but I'm not holding my breath. But we've got Snow Leopard all the way through Ubuntu on here, and they're all fully functional, and they all fully work. And it was a pain to make them all work, and I nearly lost my mind. We did do a few different things. First, one of the SSDs I put into this, I took out and replaced with a crucial 1 terabyte because I figured out that my 2 main OSs that I was going to use would only work on the SATA port, where the other 2 OSs work fine on the IDE controller, and I'm not going to be using them as much, so I don't need as much storage for them, where the main OSs I do. So what we have set up here is Snow Leopard and Ubuntu here, and Windows and Ventura here. And as we see here right now, it is running Windows. And this isn't what it looks like, and we'll talk more about that in a minute when we're showing you the OSs. But it is running Windows, and it's fully supported. Anyway, so how I got this to work was a challenge in and of itself, but it works now that I figured it all out. First, you install Snow Leopard on the IDE drive, and then you install Ubuntu onto the IDE drive. And the way you do that is you use Boot Camp Assistant to make a MBR partition on here so it will work. Once you do that, you can install Ubuntu and it works. Then you get OpenCore, you set all that up. You'll need a secondary Mac if you're running Snow Leopard because the OpenCore legacy patcher doesn't work on Snow Leopard. So you get a second Mac, make the boot drive, all that stuff. You install OpenCore, you install Ventura, and then you use Boot Camp Assistant again to make an MBR drive to install Windows 10, which we did. So we are now running Snow Leopard, Ubuntu, Ventura, and Windows 10 on here, and it was a challenge, but it works. So let's show you how it all works and how well it works. So let's go. All right, welcome to the OpenCore Legacy Patcher bootloader. And as we can see here, we only have 2 OSs. And that's because OpenCore Legacy Patcher only supports GPT OSs and not MBR OSs. So it won't even see the other drives. And how we fix that is we just boot into the regular bootloader or boot manager, and it just works. So that's a good thing. But anyway, let's boot up the OSs real quick, briefly talk about them, and show you exactly how well they work. So let's go. And welcome to Snow Leopard, which is fully booted up that quick. I have noticed that Snow Leopard boots up a little bit slower on the IDE by probably about 15 seconds or so. It's still quick enough where it's Snow Leopard. It already runs quick enough as it is. So if we go to About This Mac, we can see our specs here. And if we go to More Info, we'll show you how the drives are set up here. And we might also need to go into Disk Utility. Let's do that too. So here are the installs here. We've got the Crucial drive here, and we can see here that here's the Ventura drive, which of course Snow Leopard can't understand what it is. And we've got that formatted at 525 gigabytes. And we have Windows 10 installed at 500 gigabytes roughly. And then on the IDE drive, we've got Snow Leopard, of course. We've got 150 gigs on that. And then for Ubuntu, we have 361.77 gigs. So yeah, that's awesome. It just works. We'll briefly look at ATA, and you can see the device tree for that. And then we'll look at SATA, and there's the device tree for that. Pretty darn neat. So, Snow Leopard, it's Snow Leopard. It hasn't been supported in years. The last update, I think, was, I don't remember, around 2012, 2013, something like that. But it's still a pretty modern OS, considering we still have browsers that work mostly and work properly for the most part. But they do seem to be very laggy now because they don't have as much support and stuff. But like, it will still work, as we can see here. I'm not connected to the Wi-Fi, so it's not going to do anything. Yeah, 1 second. So we got the Wi-Fi connected now. We can refresh the page and it will just load. Eventually. There we go. It is loading. This is my early 2008 MacBook Pro. The video still loads pretty quick, but the web page takes forever to load. And the browser's starting to get to the point where it's just a little too old to really work super great. But it's working, as we can see here. It's loading up. It's working. We can also use Facebook and stuff on this browser, but it's starting to also not work very well. But it works, so that's awesome. I'm pretty happy. The reason why I'm still running Snow Leopard is because it's still probably the best Mac OS ever made. And I mean, you can still run PowerPC applications on it. And it's nice because then you can use it to back up stuff. Like, I use the System Restore Snow Leopard PowerPC on here. I also have my Apple TV server backup on here. And many other ones like, let's see here, the Gemini books backup is on here. It's very useful to use for backups. It's very useful to use for PowerPC applications, and I'm very happy with it. So anyway, let's restart the system here. And we will boot into Ventura. Now, Ventura is the OS that takes the longest to boot. We will have to speed this up, of course, because this takes forever to boot. But once it's booted and fully loaded up, which also takes a while, it's fully functional, fully useful, and as long as you don't worry, as long as you're not in a hurry waiting for it to boot up, it's definitely worth it. It still works great. The reason why, of course, I used Ventura is because it's the last OS that doesn't have those weird hardware accelerated backgrounds on it that just turn the system into a slow crawl. Of course, this OS isn't supported after probably around September or October, but currently it is still fully updated, still gets security updates, still works totally fine. And if I want to stay on Ventura, I can, because they'll still be releasing browsers for it for the foreseeable future. And as long as I'm not doing anything major with it, it will still work. So I installed Ventura. But of course, we can also run Sonoma and Sequoia on here. They'll work. They just run slower, a lot slower. But as we can see here, it is actually booted up. I didn't have to speed anything up because I've talked the whole time. And we are in Ventura, and it works. Now, the only drawback with Ventura that I can see is, of course, it doesn't see the IDE drive. There is no support for IDE on here, unless you're using like a USB adapter, of course. No internal IDE supports it. So the drive that I have Snow Leopard on and also have Ubuntu on, it can't see. But it can see the Windows drive. It all works. It all functions. And it's still loading up, as we can see here. We'll let it load up and come back. Yeah, we're about a minute into the boot. Like I said, it's really fast once it boots up. There it goes. It's finally booted up. Once it's fully booted up, it works. So let's go over to about this Mac, and we can see the system specs. There we go. We are running Ventura. This is the most recent update up to now as of filming, and it's still fully functional. Works great. Everything's fluid. Everything works. As we can see here. It's really hard to do this with my dog in my lap here, but it works. It's very smooth. It loads everything pretty quick. It looks like I might actually have an update. So let's load that. And now there's a new OpenCore update. It just came out today, and I haven't updated that yet, so it just realized that. But look, works great. Works great. Needless to say, it doesn't make a super great modern Mac, but it does work. I know. You can just go away. Thank you. But it works. It works fully and it's fully functional. It's just a little laggy on certain things, but it does everything it needs to do, and it works great. No complaints here. If we open up Firefox, it took about 10-15 seconds to load up, and it's thrown off the sync here. Stop with the autofocus. It's still loading up. Once the browser is fully loaded, it's functional, it just works. It just takes a while to get it to load. So if I go to bookmarks, I've got the same video loaded here. Wow, these are some old bookmarks. This must have transferred over from my Safari back in like high school. Those are not the bookmarks I'm looking for. Where are they? There we go. Here is the video I have saved here. We'll load it up. Definitely still a very usable OS. It's just kind of slow on this system. I don't know if I'd recommend it as a daily driver OS. You could, but it's going to get on your nerves after a while if you're used to faster systems. It's slowly getting on mine. But it does work. It just takes its sweet time. This is my early 2008 MacBook Pro, and if you guys remember, we built it up in here about 6 years ago. And it worked great for the time, but it now only boots into Snow Leopard, and occasionally it will boot into... So yeah, it's going to load the whole page, but I'm not going to sit here forever waiting for it to load. Once it gets YouTube to fully load, you can go from video to video, and it just works. A slight delay, of course, between videos, but it will load them all, and they'll work. And as we can see here, it's fully loaded now. It did take a while, but it's there. So it's a useful OS, but of course it's the most intensive OS for this system, but you can still use it. And of course, it's still getting updates. That's awesome. So we'll restart it again here. Now here was my first big hurdle here. The Windows drives, as we see here, these ones here are both going to point to the same install, which is the Ubuntu drive. I don't know why, because they're two different drives, quite literally. So it's a bit of a pain, but once I figured out that it was doing that, if we go over to the Windows drive here, I figured out that since Ubuntu still sees the Windows drive, we could get the Grub bootloader to actually see the Windows drive, and we could boot into Windows. So let's boot into Windows. And we are booting into Windows 10. As we notice here, it doesn't look like Windows 10 booting up. That is actually the Windows 11 DLL that allows that shows the picture. I transferred that over to Windows 11, and I also installed a theme on here for Windows 11. It's not a full-on Windows 11 theme, but it looks convincing enough, and it modernizes Windows 10. Because I finally realized that Windows 10 looks really dated. But as we can see here, we are in Windows 10. This is Windows 10 Enterprise IoT LTSC 2021. What a name. But this OS is supported until 2032. If we go to System here, we can see Enterprise LTSC here. And it's fully functional, fully updated. And as you noticed, it's pretty quick. It's quite a snappy little OS here. Everything works, right-click, all that stuff. Right-click was a pain to get to work because I installed Boot Camp 6 on here, which overwrote the multi-touch drivers, which was a problem because Boot Camp 4's drivers are the only ones that work with this touchpad. And then I realized that occasionally it would just stop working at all, and that is because if we go to Device Manager here, and go into Interface Devices, and go to Multi-Touch, and go to Properties, Power Management, it automatically chooses to allow the computer to turn off to save power, which is a problem because it turns it off to save power while you're using it. And then all of a sudden, all your multi-touches don't work. So, yeah, that was a little bit of a problem, but it works now. Everything works. We're running Start 11 on here. We're running custom Windows 11 theme. And this is actually where the mods and Hrutkay mods came from, and the first time I've done it in a long time. I used to install modified Windows installs. And, yeah, it works. This is where the mods in Hrutkay mods came from, is custom Windows installs. And as we can see here, it's so much faster. Windows 10 Enterprise. This is my early 2008 MacBook. Works incredibly well, as we can see here. We built it up in here about 6 years ago. So I'm very happy with that. We've got Windows 10 on here. It's fully functional. Everything works the way it's supposed to. And I could not complain anything about it. This, of course, like I said, is supported until 2032. And it will work as long as they're making Windows 10 applications for it. That might be the problem with that because it is getting supported so much longer than regular Windows 10. They might stop making applications. But yeah, I did the 11 theme because 10's theme is based off of Windows 8's theme. And Windows 8 came out in 2012. It's looking kind of old. And I've been using Windows 11 for so long now that I actually don't like the look of 10 anymore. I still like 10 better. But 11's look is a lot better. So, yeah, we had to put a theme on it, and it worked, and I'm very happy with it. So let's boot it again into Linux and continue on. And now we're booting into Ubuntu. Now, you may have noticed that I have not said which version of Ubuntu it is. And you'll see in a second which one it is once it's fully booted. Out of all the OSs, the fastest one to boot is probably Snow Leopard. That's an iffy one because it's a little slower than it used to be. And then it's Windows, and then it's Ubuntu, and then it's Ventura. And Ventura, as you saw, takes forever. But Ubuntu loads right up, and we are in Jumpin' Jellyfish. And welcome to Ubuntu. We are running 2204 Jammin' Jellyfish because 2404 won't work, and we'll talk about that real quickly. 2404 just does not work, and there's a reason to it. In 18.10, they depreciated the Tesla NVIDIA graphics driver. So 1804 would install fine and work fine. And then after that, if you installed anything freshly, it just would not work. Now, of course, we can still run 2404 on here, but we have to transfer the legacy drivers over, and I couldn't get it to work. And I even filmed some videos on it that I'll probably show at the end of the video of me troubleshooting it. But yeah, it was a pain. But yeah, it turns out if you update from 1804 to 2004 to 2204, it still carries over the legacy drivers. But the second you install 2404, it dumps the legacy driver and it stops working, which would be a pain. But honestly, I don't see anything really different with Jam and Jellyfish to Noil Numbat or whatever they call it. At this point, I don't remember the name. But yeah, it just works. It's fast. It's responsive. Everything works great on it. And because this is an LTSC release, we can install Ubuntu Pro on here. And we have support up until 2032 with security updates. And then they have this weird extended emergency security update feature for unsupported OSs until 2034. So we could run this until 2034 and at least get major security updates. But it gets security updates until 2032, fully supported, works great. It's awesome. I can't complain with it. And I mean, once it's no longer supported, we can install a newer version of Ubuntu and play around with the legacy drivers. But I tried multiple times. I couldn't get it to work, but I know people have. I know it's possible. I got it close, but I never got it quite there. So if we open up Firefox here, between the two OSs, between Windows 10 and Ubuntu, I'm really not sure which one's faster. They're both really quick. But I almost say Windows is slightly faster on here, which is a little shocking because Ubuntu should be lighter. But then again, if I ran a lighter distro on here, it would probably work totally fine. As we see here, it took a little longer to load than Windows, but it still works. This is my early 2008 MacBook Pro. And it just does everything it needs to. And the nice thing about Linux, of course, is we've got a lot of different features. We've got the App Center, which is kind of like the App Store on Mac OS. And, of course, Microsoft Store, which sucks butt on Windows. Yeah. But this works, and we can run a lot of different free applications and stuff. And it's all customizable, all works. I'm very happy with the end result, and it was a pain, but I finally have my system back. I've got a system that I can actually make work for anything I needed to do, of course, other than like video editing. It's kind of slow for 4K editing. 1080p, it's kind of slow for that. Could do 720p, I'm sure, with no problem. But yeah, regular 1080p it might be able to do, but 60 FPS it can't for sure. But it does everything. You know, I had other applications installed on this, like the third time I installed Jam and Jellyfish, but I had to install it one more time. So we don't have those applications on here anymore, but it works. Everything's fairly quick. None of this is sped up here. This is how fast it loads. I'm very impressed and very happy with it. And yeah, well, let's wrap up the video. My dog's getting kind of tired. She's sighing, and I mean, it's 5:15 a.m. So yeah, I'm sure she is tired. So let's wrap it up. So I didn't address why I had to install Windows on the SATA drive. We'll quickly talk about that while we're wrapping everything up. There's something going on with the ATA driver. The IDE driver for the optical drive bay doesn't work. I never could get it to work. I installed multiple versions. Windows 10 just doesn't like it. So it would run the OS at like 1/10 of the regular speed, which was unbearable, and it would max the drive out constantly. It never gave it any breathing space. It would take minutes for any application to load. So the way to fix that was I just moved it over to the SATA drive, and that's why it took me 36 hours to install all these OSs and make them work in harmony on here. Of course, we do have little issues, like we can't see drives across all the OSs because of incompatible file systems, but hey, they work, and it still boots into everything. If I need to transfer a file, I just need a USB drive, formatted in FAT, and all the OSs will see it, and I can copy over to it. It just works. So I did say at the end of part 2, if I didn't get 2404 on here and make it work, I would chuck it out a window. But after thinking about it, I don't see any difference between 22 and 24. They're both the same OS, more or less. It's just got a different wallpaper on it. I have seen nothing different in the UI. They all work. They're all still getting fully supported updates. All the applications are still compatible between both of them, and it just works. So I decided to stay with 2204, so I didn't have to fight with the graphics driver, which was driving me insane, and to the point where I thought I was going to die because it spiked my blood pressure so high trying to figure it out. So I thought, for my health's sake, we'll stay on 2204. It works. I'm happy with the end result. We are running Snow Leopard Ventura, Windows 10 Enterprise IoT LTSC 2021, what a name, and Ubuntu 2204. And it just works. I'm very happy. I'll finally be able to use this as my daily driver again. And the reason why I wanted to put Linux on here is because I'm trying to learn Linux more. And Ubuntu, of course, is the easiest for me to learn because I've been using Ubuntu since around 2016-ish, on and off, at least versions of it. And I love it. Of course, it's based off of Debian. Anything based off of Debian, I seem to like. And I've been using Ubuntu Mate, Ubuntu, and of course regular Ubuntu for years now. And I just like how it works. It works it's the easiest transition from Windows or even Mac OS, in my opinion. It might be more labor intensive, might have more processes. You could put a lighter version of Linux on here. It would run great. It would run faster. It would be the fastest OS on here. But I like the features of Ubuntu, so I'm going to stick with it. And yeah, I'm happy with this. It came out exactly the way I wanted it to, except it did have a few little problems. Now that I boot my OS, my Windows install off of the IDE drive bootloader, it does have one problem. Windows, Mac, originally, when Apple introduced Boot Camp, they gimped Windows on purpose. And the reason why they did that was so it would run slower on Windows than it would on Mac OS. So it would, at least that's what we assume. So it wouldn't still be a competitor. It still runs faster than Mac OS. Even back then it did. But it ran slower than it should have. And that's because Windows only allowed it to run the driver for IDE. It did not have AHCI enabled. And this was a problem all the way through, I want to say, when the EFI compatible Macs that would allow you to boot EFI Windows, when that came out, they stopped doing it. But before then, they gimped it. So you could only run it in IDE mode, which means you couldn't have all the SATA features and speediness and all that stuff, which was a problem. It still ran fast enough, especially if you're running a SATA drive off of IDE, it's still pretty fast. So even though it only runs on IDE, it's still fast enough, but there is a way to fix it. And I've done tutorials like this one up here showing you how to run AHCI drivers. And of course, it only works on Intel chipsets. NVIDIA chipsets it will not work on. But this little hack up here allowed you to run full AHCI speeds on the system. The problem is it's got to run off the drive it boots off of, which it doesn't now. It boots off the IDE drive with the bootloader and then switches over to the Windows drive, which means I can't enable AHCI, which is kind of sad, but Windows still works fine. It works great, and I'm still able to read what's on the drive and how it's functioning. So I'm not too worried about it. It's just a minor drawback. And I'll tell you what, it was slightly faster when I was running AHCI, but even if it takes a little bit longer to boot up, because it's stuck on IDE with the SATA port. It's such a stupid thing, Apple. It works, so I'm happy. And in the end, this actually came out better than I expected. I mean, it came out the way I wanted it to. Everything that I needed it to do, it can do, and it does it well. So I'm happy. And that's the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this 3-parter that was supposed to originally be a 1-parter. Yeah, it started wearing thin on my psyche. I knew it was going to be a problem, but I didn't think it was going to be this big of a problem. And it was. You know, the lack of it being able to support UEFI on all installs really sucks. But the fact that it still was able to run the hybrid GPT MBR drives on both sides turned out great. Anyway, I apologize for all the jump cuts that have happened in this video because my dog is very antsy, but she's cute, so keeps me from needing to. I wouldn't do that anyway, but she's lucky she's cute. Anyway, so that's the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like I said, this series was supposed to be a 1-parter, not a 3-parter. So that was a bit of a pain, but in the end, everything came out the way it should have, and I'm happy. So anyway, don't forget, guys, I do have a Patreon and memberships if you'd like to join or anything like that. Just, you know, do what you need to do. Links at the end of the video in the description, all that stuff. Please join. Please support me if you can. I greatly appreciate it. Please do that. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, that's the end of today's video. This has been a Hrutkay Mods video. You want in the camera view? Ooh! You know, this doesn't work very well. You don't care, do you? What do you guys think of my new background? Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had a background, and it's still a little, it's still needing something. It doesn't feel right quite yet, but I'm sure it's a lot better than that blank wall. Anyway, are you ready for this? Yeah? All right, let's try to film this. All right, you want to stay right there? You want to get down? Yeah, I love you too. All right. My little filming buddy here. This is my 2023-ish, 2024-ish dog. Now, you are cute though. Yeah. All right, let's get serious. You ready? Make sure that screen's on. This is my late 2000. You're like, no, it's not a late 2008, you idiot. It's an early 2008. You should know better. Yeah, I know. Remember me filming it in these videos up here. We built it, and nope. It's just not going well, is it? What? You want back in the camera? Come on. Say hello to my filming partner. Anyway, guys, I'm Greg Hrutkay of Hrutkay Mods, and welcome to this episode where we are going to... You ready now? She won't leave me alone. But I'm okay with that. Anyway, I'm Greg Hrutkay of Hrutkay. Yeah, my pile of merch is now a dog bed. You're cute. Anyway, I'm Greg Hrutkay of Hrutkay Mods, and welcome to part 3 of me bringing my early 2008 MacBook Pro kicking and screaming into 2025. Girl, you're getting on my last nerve. Please. Lay down. I'll get this filmed eventually. Anyway, I'm Greg. Yeah, I know. No, don't get on the table. Anyway, I'm Greg Hrutkay of Hrutkay Mods. Welcome to part 3 of me bringing my early MacBook Pro. Well, it is sort of an early MacBook Pro, but that's not what I'm talking about. But it works now that I figured it all out. First, you install Snow Leopard, the supported way, of course. And then you install Windows. No. First, you install Snow Leopard on the IDE. Oh. So, go here. Stay. So, at the end of part 2, I said, if I get... So, hard drives on both sides. Turned out great. And my dog is escaping through the back door. Girl, get out of there. No. Stay. We're almost done. Stay. No. Right at the end of the video. Really? Anyway, I apologize for all the jump cuts that have happened. I greatly appreciate it. Also, her being in that back room is really bothering me. Anyway, Patreon, blah, 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 blah. I've already forgotten all the things I was talking about. But anyway, please do that. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, that's it.